Alright, so I literally just got back from seeing Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, all the carnage, so much Harrelson. Literally like 10 minutes ago, got back, and I thought, why not just record my review straight off the top while I have everything still in my head. All of my deep and intricate thoughts about Venom 2, The Rise of the Harrelson. And I'm super late to this because this movie didn't come out here where I am for a while. I'm in Ireland, by the way. I'm at university, that's why the room's different. It's all a long story. We don't have to get into that now. But the main thing to remember here is I'm going full spoilers. I'm breaking with tradition. Full spoilers off the bat, just because most of you have seen it by now. It came out 2 weeks ago everywhere else. Let's just talk about Venom 2, Carnage Man.
All I ever wanted in this world is carnage.
So, is Venom Let There Be Carnage the best superhero movie ever? No, it is not. Is it the worst superhero movie ever? No, okay, not ever. Is it one of the worst ones I've seen in recent memory? I would say so, yes. And I realize this video is not going to be super popular, because I think people like this movie, which is totally fine, obviously. I might title it just like Venom Let There Be Carnage, worst superhero movie ever, question mark? Just, I've never had that, clickbait title like that before. That'd be fun to experience. But before I get into this, as I always say, don't take this as a personal attack if you like this movie. It's just my opinion. And again, as I always say, I am, jealous of you. Consider yourself lucky. You got fun out of an experience that I didn't get fun out of. Clearly, you won in this exchange. This is just what I thought of the movie. Just people get very riled up about that. But Venom 2, I don't even know where to start. It's not without anything that I enjoyed. I guess we can go positives first. It has a couple of funny moments. A lot of the film is trying to be funny, and there were a few moments that succeeded for me. The main one that I can remember was, it wasn't, really because it was super clever, it was just because, the comedic timing on it was really funny. When he's going into the prison, he's arguing with Venom, and then he says, "Shut up," and he says it to a lady, and just the timing on that moment was pretty funny. Every other joke, and, the movie is extremely comedic, it's basically a comedy, it just didn't land for me, and I think that's basically what will make or break this movie for you, if you find it funny or not. Most of it is trying to be funny, especially with the relationship between Venom and Eddie, which was my favorite part of the first film. So you would think I would love this, because it's, all about that. Pretty exclusively, actually, at the expense of, plot or, story beats a lot of the time. And they took the charming nature of it, or the kind of funny nature of it in the first film. They listened to what people liked, which I guess, I can appreciate. They, cranked that up all the way up. And they cranked it also up in, silliness and this type of their relationship. It's, in the first one, he calls him a pussy, and they have these funny moments, but it's not he isn't a joke character, from memory at least. And in this one, he is entirely, comic relief, Venom is. And just didn't really work for me. I felt like the jokes and the dialogue from Venom, between Venom and Eddie, it felt just very kids movie-ish. It felt like it was targeted towards kids, weirdly, even though it's supposed to be more edgy than the regular superhero movie. Even before the movie, there were 2 trailers for rated R horror movies. So I guess that's what they think it is, but this felt a lot like a kid's movie to me. In terms of the plot, in terms of the dialogue, the humor, it felt very, for a younger audience, weirdly, for a film that's meant to be marketed as kind of the more edgy superhero movie. Story-wise, it's also an extremely simple film, which again, it doesn't even feel like a real movie sometimes in terms of the pacing, the way it's shot, the way the movie looks, it seems lower budget than the first one. But anyway, I got off track there. The story and pacing, it's extremely simple, which isn't a bad thing inherently, but there was nothing interesting as a result to really grasp onto. There were no character motivations I found very compelling, or arcs that were interesting. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't arcs and there aren't motivations, they are there, but especially anything beyond the main Eddie Venom story, it's extremely uninteresting, and it feels like it's just there because it has to be, It's a checklist. They're okay, we put it in. That's an arc, technically, but there's nothing behind it. And the main, Eddie Venom arc was fine, I guess, but the way the film's paced, I just feel you don't get much out of it. And I'm not saying, I needed an intense emotional experience from this film, but because there isn't any semblance of that, or there wasn't for me at least, it meant that part of the film didn't work either. So the comedy of the film, which is most of it, didn't really work for me. And anything else you could get out of it didn't work as much for me. There is also, of course, given that it's a, superhero movie, there's the action, there are the effects, the superhero-ing, which was okay, I guess. It was just interesting in the sense of visuals and spectacle. Like, it looks cool on the big screen, but there wasn't really anything beyond that. Actually, that's not true. There was some creativity in the final battle. I liked how they used the sound, like with the bell and that sort of thing. That was pretty cool. I like that a lot. But beyond that, and a few other moments of like a bit of creativity, I didn't feel much of any, like it sort of devolved into CGI slugfest as I kind of expected it would. And because I wasn't attached to any of the characters involved, it also falls flat in that way. The effects are as good as the first film. The effects are good. Sometimes tiny bit wonky, but like that's probably the thing the film does quite well. Like the Venom suit didn't look as good as the first film, but it still looks, still looks pretty cool. Also, if you're enjoying this video, drop a like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on Venom 2 down below. Also check out my podcast, The Poorly Planned Podcast. All right, back to the vid. The Carnage effect, I liked his design. I liked the ways it was different from Venom's, but I think a lot of the film just comes down to the fact that it's not just a comedy, it is a Looney Tune episode. Like, it is a complete joke of a movie. And I'm not even saying that like in an insulting way. Like, it is just it felt like a cartoon episode. And there are so many scenes that are devoted exclusively just to cartoony hijinks involving Venom. It was a little jarring because, I don't know, maybe I'm the idiot here because like maybe this is what they thought people wanted, because obviously they were not listening to my advice specifically, but with the first film, my opinion was a lot of the more generic stuff at the start was kind of boring, and then the Venom Eddie stuff was kind of fun and interesting. And in this one, there are just so many scenes exclusively of that, but it just felt like none of it mattered. None of it had like, I know it was building their character arc, but so much of it felt like pointless hijinks that you'd find in a Looney Tunes or a Bugs Bunny or whatever, cartoon skit. That was mildly amusing at times, and then at other times I just found so like silly and cartoon-like that I don't know. I wasn't into it. I'm trying not to sound like an asshole where it's like,
oh, this superhero movie wasn't complicated enough and adult enough for me, and I do not like comedy scenes in my superhero movies.
It's just this one, it was so focused on that it just felt like not a not a movie. It felt like a viral video, that the marketing team makes. Like, look, it's Venom and Eddie having fun in the kitchen. Isn't this incredible? But like, that was at least half the movie was basically that vibe, Acting wise, I mean, Woody Harrelson is very bad in it, but I feel like you have to look at this movie almost like they were trying to make an homage to like Batman Forever or something, or Batman and Robin. Like, if this Woody Harrelson performance was in The Dark Knight, obviously that would be strange. Also, because why would Carnage be in The Dark Knight? But you get my point. If it was in a more serious tone film. So because it's in this one, I forgive it more, but it's still a bad performance. Just like Jim Carrey is bad in Batman Forever, Woody Harrelson is bad in this movie. And Tom Hardy, just like the first film, I mean, it works. It's kind of a weird performance. Like, the way he delivers a lot of his lines, it's just like strange, but I guess that's just how Eddie is as a character, so kudos for that. Yeah, fair enough. All right, that performance is fine, I suppose. I can't even remember. I saw this movie 10 minutes ago. I can't even remember who else is in it. Dan, I thought he was fine. It is at the very least shorter and not as dull as the first one. The first one is a bit of what I have dubbed as like a YouTube clips movie, where there are certain scenes that I would watch lots of times again on YouTube if I wanted to, maybe, but I don't think I would watch the full film. That was sort of the case with that one, where a lot of it, like, I was like, I wouldn't want to sit through this again. It's kind of generic and boring. This one wasn't as generic and boring. It wasn't boring, I guess, and it kept it very short. It was, like 90 minutes, but it didn't have any real impact. And like the scene where Venom goes to like a nightclub or something, I know it's building on his story with Eddie, but it was also trying to be funny, and it just stayed on this like joke scene that then, besides building up that arc, which I feel like you could have done in a better, different way, like it serves no purpose besides just being like a scene where Venom does something and, does something funny, and there's there are jokes, and so much of the movie felt like that, where it just felt disconnected and pointless. If you are going to this movie because you want to see Venom, like the actual suit in action, you want to see the CGI suit doing things, you want to see funny scenes between Eddie and Venom, and you want to see Woody Harrelson, do what you would assume he would based on the post-credits of the first film, I'm sure you'll love this. And that's why I think it's getting quite a decent reception, I think. I mean, everyone in my cinema loved it, like, because I think that's what people are going for, and that's fair enough. I I did want more Venom Eddie stuff, but I didn't want this, I guess I didn't want it to be this, like, Bugs Bunny type of disconnected vibe with then, like, no real interesting story, and it looks a little cheaper, and yeah, was not a fan, personally. And they did a little trick. They had a funny little trick, which I am familiar with. I call it the Justice League effect, where you put a post-credit scene or something at the end that leaves the audience, or at least me, feeling very happy and excited because it's something really cool, and then you leave the cinema and you think, that wasn't that bad, and I have to kind of pull myself back and be like, wait a minute, that scene was great. That scene was super cool, and I really want to talk about that. But the rest of the movie was not good. You can't trick me. I did not enjoy this movie. So they put we can talk about the post-credit scene. It said spoilers. Crazy. I mean, it was crazy to see. Venom is transported into the MCU. Like, it's just, as a, comic book movie nerd, that is incredible to see. Because we've been talking about it for so long, whether the Sonyverse and the MCU can cross over, if Venom would come into that, what's going to happen in No Way Home, the other characters going to be in it. And, like, it's just been going on for so long, like, especially with No Way Home, all the rumors and all the, look at this footage that's real, or maybe it's fake, or maybe it's real, and all this stuff. And so to finally, like, see on the big screen something confirming that, it was incredible. Like, seeing Venom looking at a picture of Tom Holland, it was amazing. It's super exciting. He's probably going to be in No Way Home then. It confirms that the Sony stuff is coming over. Like, that was great. Everyone freaked out, and it was awesome. So, yes, I'm extremely excited about that. I'm super excited for No Way Home, seeing Tom Holland and this Venom interacting. Even if I wasn't crazy about this movie or the last one, I kind of like this version of Venom. At the very least, it's like, it's a distinct version. It'll be interesting to see him interacting with other characters, That's super exciting. It doesn't save the movie, though, for me. Because I did walk out of the cinema, like, kind of with a smile on my face, and I was like, wait a minute. I didn't like that movie. I just really liked the post-credit scene. So, post-credit scene, 10 out of 10. Couldn't have done it better. Great stuff. Movie, not as much. So, overall, I didn't enjoy Venom 2. I didn't, hate watching it. It definitely had pockets of fun in it, for sure. I laughed 1 or 2 times. My dark, cold heart enjoyed a couple of moments. I didn't find it particularly fun, but I can see how you could find it fun. I suspect a lot of people will like it based on what they're looking for going in. Personally, the tone they went for, the execution of it, the plot, the characters, the acting, didn't really work for me. I will give Venom, Let There Be Carnage, a 3.5 out of 10. And here's how my rating system works, for those who don't know. Maybe that's a bit harsh. 4 out of 10, maybe. I don't know. I just saw it, so my opinions might change, actually. We'll see. So those are my thoughts on Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I'm sure this video will have 0 dislikes, and everyone will love my opinions, and everything will be perfect. Yes, good. Hey. You can always trust that I'll at least say what I actually thought about it. And, whenever me and you, the audience member, disagree on stuff, I actually quite enjoy reading the comments because I go into it thinking, like, man, these are going to be, like, not that fun to read. And then they're usually like, oh, I disagree with you. Like, I totally don't agree with you at all. And this is why. And it's not, like, hateful or anything. It's just, like, a normal movie discussion, which I can appreciate. Like Freddie and I had about No Time to Die on our podcast. Subtle plug. But so yeah, we'll see what people think. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Hope you enjoyed this video. While you're at it, be sure to like this video. Check out my Instagram and Twitter at BHL_Hudson, my TikTok at BHLHudson. Check out this podcast that I do with a friend of mine where we talk about movies and TV shows and a bunch of nonsense. It's called The Poorly Planned Podcast. And subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.